talking about getting some volume back in your hair, making your hair loud and proud. So I do just want to give a moment for everyone to jump into the video call today. But while that happens, I do want to tell you all about our amazing discount code that we have every single video. This one, it's never going to change, at least I hope it's not. For that discount code, it is 10% off your entire order. It is all capital letters, no spaces, Shay, just like my name, and we'll make sure to pop it in the comments for you too. But that'll give you 10% off everything in your order. And for people who are just starting to join us now, today we're going to be talking about getting some volume back in your hair. So if your hair is anything like mine, where it needs that extra help all the time to get anything going on with it, this video is going to be for you today. And as always, if you have any questions or anything like that, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to get to each and every one of them. Last week we had so many questions. I couldn't quite get to them all, but they still got answered through a comment reply. So definitely feel free to still leave the question, and if I don't get to them, it will still be answered, even if it's not in the video here today. But yeah, leave those below and let's get started. I'm starting to see some people joining us, so we should be good to start rolling here. But just a reminder, oh, I see some hellos. Hello. Thank you for joining. But let's talk about getting your hair loud and proud. So today it's going to be kind of a mix of a how-to tutorial thing. I won't be able to show you everything on the live here, otherwise we would be here forever. But I'm going to kind of talk you through some things that you can do to get your hair to not look like mine, how it is right now, and get some volume into it. So the first one, super easy. We're going to start it off nice and easy. Everyone can do this one. So for your very first tip, when you get out of the shower or when your hair is wet, part your hair in a way that you wouldn't normally. So I always do a center part. So if I was just coming out of the shower, I might do a deep side part like this. Oh, I would do a bit of a deep side part like this. And then once my hair is all dry, you can kind of see the effects of it here because I let my hair dry in a center part, but you're going to get more volume when you switch up your part. It's a really simple thing to do, so even here you can tell that I got a bit more bulb to my hair just by switching it from a center part to a side part. So for the sake of today's theme of having volume, we're going to leave my hair all wonky and big like this. So super easy. Everyone can do it. I just did it right here for you. It is a little crazy, but I would recommend taming it a little bit. But it is loud and proud when you switch up your part like that. Now for another one that you could do, this one, it's super common. I feel like most people already know this one, but it is back combing or back brushing, where essentially you just take this section of hair and you would brush it backwards. So you would be pushing up into the root. This one, it's not one of my favorites. It's not one that I would recommend to get volume back into your hair, mainly because it does cause a lot of damage. It can really encourage breakage. It's intentionally putting tangles in your hair. And then in turn, you're going to have to try and brush that out later. And if you're someone who's worried about hair loss, now you're not only losing hair loss to its natural causes, but you're also getting it from breaking it and pulling it when you're trying to get those tangles out. So back combing isn't one that I super duper recommend, but I know a lot of people do it, specifically like with hairspray and things like that. If you're trying to get like the bump back here, you'll take like a section of your hair and then back comb the underside of it, smooth it out. If you're someone doing that, I would encourage you maybe to humor some of our other options that we have in today's live stream, just because that specific one, back combing and back brushing, is super damaging. It can cause more and more tangles, so then you're pulling on your hair more, causing more hair loss, and the list goes on and on. So that's something I always recommend to kind of stay away from when it comes to volume. So you'd be better off doing a simple trick like this one than it would be to do the back combing. And just a reminder, I'm seeing lots of hellos, but definitely make sure that if any questions come up or if you have any tips or tricks, I love it when people share their own tips or tricks in the comments. Make sure to leave those down below. But now that we've kind of talked about some already known, very, very simple techniques, let's move into some heated ways. Let's heat things up a little bit today. So for these ones, sorry, I couldn't resist. I had to say it. For these ones, I have two where it comes with the heated options. So one is that you would take our 10-in-1 hair revitalizer just to keep your hair really nice and moisturized. It's really, really light. So I put the hair oils in my hair today. And you can kind of see that it gives you a bit more of like a glossy, heavier look. So I always say if you're worried about volume specifically, go with our 10-in-1 hair revitalizer instead of the hair oil. It'll leave your hair feeling a little bit lighter while still keeping that moisture in it, because our next step is to take our blow dryer and a round brush. Now, if you don't have a round brush, you can use our detangler brush. You just have to do it kind of in like upward motions, I guess you could say. But with that, you are just trying to get as much as the root lifted. So even if it is just like, I do it with my hands sometimes, where I'll take the blow dryer just so it has some heat there, pump it up like that with my hands, and just work the hair blow dryer over top of it like this, just to try and get some reinforcement there. You can also use styling products such as like mousse, gel, hairspray. If you are using those ones, I would recommend to make sure that you are detoxing your hair at least once a week. So with that, you're going to want to have the apple cider vinegar or the activated charcoal shampoo, one of those two, at least once a week, just to get rid of all of that like chemical styling products that you're using, because we all know that when you have really, really limp, fine hair, you got to put something in it. And we totally understand that. So just make sure that you're detoxing to keep your hair at its healthiest. So that would be your first option, is to blow dry with like a round brush, using styling products or even just your fingers to try and pump it up a little bit. But before you start all that, you're going to want to be putting moisture in it, such as the 10-in-1 hair revitalizer. So for that one, just a little summary for it. 10-in-1 hair revitalizer before you blow dry. Then you're going to blow dry using a round brush to try and get that volume at the roots, or just using your fingers to try and do that. And then using your styling products like hairspray, mousse, and then detoxing your hair once a week with an apple cider vinegar shampoo or an activated charcoal shampoo. If you want one that's a little bit of a lighter detox, we also have our green tea shampoo. That one also does a bit of a detox as well. So one of those three once a week, just to get rid of all that chemical buildup that you're going to be throwing in there, just to get that volume. Now for our second heating it up option, this one I really, really like to do this, and it kind of is a carry-on of the last one. But if you don't have a round brush, you don't want to use your fingers, you don't want to use styling products, but you do have a hair blow dryer, for that one, you're going to want to flip your head upside down and blow dry your hair that way. I know it sounds ridiculous, but when you flip your hair back up, it's going to look like this at the roots, because your hair was dried in the opposite direction of what it's supposed to be. So that one's a quick in the morning version of this, of the switching your part, essentially, is by drying your hair in a way that it doesn't typically sit and then putting it the way that you want it to sit. Your hair kind of gets confused, and then in turn it has a little bit of volume with it. Now I do see a question here, or which one is it? Sorry. Oh, not a question, a tip or trick. So Patricia is telling us, for those who blow dry their hair, dry the hair in the opposite direction that you want to lay it. So exactly what I am saying. So same thing as doing this. This is the air dry version of that. But if you're blow drying it, blow dry it in the way that you don't want it to be, and then flip it in the way you want it. Patricia's got it. She's got it down under control. Another option that you can do when it comes to using heat, you can also take like a curling iron or a straight iron and just focus on the roots, because we all know putting a lot of heat on your hair isn't always the best. You tend to need a lot more moisture when you're doing that. But if you're just looking to get volume, you take your hair straightener or your curling iron and you're going to focus just on the root and just try and lift it a little bit in those sections. So if I'm using a curling iron, you'll kind of see the action that I did with my hands there, but I'll pinch the hair and I'll go up and then curve a little bit once I kind of get the volume. And that little bit of a curl is going to add just that little bit more lift at the top, and then it kind of does fall and blend a little bit better that way. Another option you can do is straighten it in the opposite direction, similar to the blow drying. So let's say your hair is already dry and it's not wet. That's when you could bring out the straight iron or the curling iron. The curling iron, same idea. You're just going to want to be taking it in there and just doing a little bit of a lift rather than a curl that you would with a normal curling iron. Now, if you are wanting curly hair also is great to get volume if you want crazy curly hair. So yeah, those are our three options, I guess, because we kind of made the one into two. So your three heat options are to blow dry your hair in the opposite direction that you want it to go, blow dry your hair upside down, or take your straight iron or curling iron if your hair is already dry and just pumping up the roots a little bit with that. Now for all of these, you're going to want to have some kind of moisture in there, whether it be through your shampoo and conditioner or you're throwing in that leave-in conditioner, our 10-in-1 hair revitalizer. That's what I personally do anytime that I am trying to get some volume in my hair and I know I'm going to be putting heat on my hair, is I throw that into the mix. Now, if you're someone, you don't have the 10-in-1 hair revitalizer yet, no worries, because we have that 10% off discount code for you. So you would just go to our website, wowskinscience.com, and under our leave-in section of the hair care, you'll find the 10-in-1 hair revitalizer. Put that in your cart, and once you're in the checkout, in the discount code box, just put all capital letters Shay, just like my name. We got it over there in the comments for you to get 10% off everything in your order there. Now, I do see another one here, another suggestion. While your hair is wet, I scrunch it with my fingers and flip it upside down and let it air dry. So Angela is giving us that tip or trick. That's amazing. It sounds like you have curly hair. I could be wrong with the scrunching, but absolutely, absolutely. I find that the basic rule of thumb when it comes to needing volume and you want to do it without product, without heat, anything like that, is make your hair dry in a way that you don't want it to dry. So my example of the center part, and then now I have a side part that has so much volume. So essentially that's the rule of thumb, is if you have a way of making your hair dry in a way that you don't want it to look, once it's dry, flip it the way you want it and you should have some rockin' volume. Your hair will be loud and proud and ready to rumble. Now for our last few options, we have some overnight leave-ins. So for these ones, they can be sometimes a little bit more difficult because you're sleeping with them in. So we do want to try and make sure that they're comfortable and they're not too crazy for you. But the first one you can do is rollers. So the bigger the roller, the less of a curl that you're going to have, but the more volume that you're going to have. So my curlers, they are pretty small that I have. They're only about that round. But I've seen curlers where they're like that big. And those are just going to really pump up your hair, just getting those rollers in there. And I find that when I put them in, it is always best to kind of mix up which direction they're going. But specifically at the front, you want to make sure that they're going backwards. So if my fingers were the rollers and I'm taking my hair, how can I show you guys this? Okay, if my fingers were the rollers, I want to make sure I'm going this way over them. Just to make sure that I am trying to get it up out of my face and big, voluminous, sweeping back, the supermodel look of having the wind blowing in your face, all natural. You can do that just by using some rollers and making sure that they're going up and back on those. I do see some more comments coming in, so more people sharing their tips or tricks. Yay! I see someone here saying, I never use curling irons or straighteners, always air dry. So for you, you'd want to do what I demonstrated at the beginning of the video. So when you got out of the shower, you'll have your hair, let me see if I can redo it. You'll have your hair in a part that you wouldn't normally wear. So let's say a center part. I'm really messing my hair up today. So let's say a center part. When you get out of the shower, you're going to let your hair live its life like this until it's dry or mostly dry, and you're ready to go out into the world and you want to get that volume. Quick, easy. Just take your part that you want and va-va-voom. Now we got some volume there. And it's quick, easy. Like, honestly, this one's my favorite. I personally love this one because, like, look at how high my hair is there. And I put nothing on it, nothing in it. All I did was let it dry a different way. And if you're in a rush, you can do that with a hair blow dryer, but you said you don't like to use heat or anything like that, only air dry. So I would definitely suggest this option for you, or some of our overnight options, which are rollers. And then I have another one after we read our comments here. So I see Angela saying, no, just wave. Okay, that was from me saying I think you have curly hair. So just wavy. Okay. When you do the scrunch. So if you don't do the scrunch, you got straight hair. I got you. Okay. Okay, but your hair, okay, but my hair has a lot of body when I do it. That's awesome. Yeah, I find people who are blessed with a little bit more curly or wavy hair tend to get away with those things a little bit better when it comes to naturally doing it. But if you have baby fine hair and it's bone straight, it's a bit of an uphill battle. So honestly, it all does depend on your hair type. I've seen some people who do have curly hair, but it is really flat, and then they just have to take some product and go whomp, and then bam, they have volume. But if you're anything like me and you have bone straight hair, it takes a lot to encourage it to do anything really. I find that part it the way that you don't want it and let it dry, and then flip it the way you do, or using curling iron, straight iron, um, round brush, hair blow drying, those types of things I find really help if you have really straight hair. But that's amazing that you're able to do it just with a simple scrunch, Angela. I love that. I see Susan saying always air dry. I fully support air drying with every bit of my being. If there is any way that you can avoid using heat, absolutely do it. But if you're looking for volume, this is the way to go, is just parting it in a weird way and then part it the way you want to after it's dried. I see from Patricia, if you have no rollers, you can use empty containers like cans with bobby pins. Okay, cool. I've never heard that. I have heard people using toilet paper rolls before, but I find that they're super weak. I haven't tried it myself, mainly because I don't have a collection of toilet paper rolls. But if you do, or you can start accumulating them if you really want. They do work very similarly as rollers. You're totally right there, Patricia. So that's a nice at-home DIY there, is to make your own little rollers. You can pick your own sizes that way, and then just make sure they are secure. I do have this one silk t-shirt that I use for anything that I need to keep my hair locked in for overnight, and it might be a little bigger, like rollers. What I'll do is I'll put the t-shirt on just over my head, not through my arms, do what I need to do with my hair. So in this case, it would be putting the rollers in or putting the cans with bobby pins in. And then once I have everything secure up there, just to kind of reinforce it overnight, that's when I'll take the silk shirt, pull it over so that the collar of the shirt is just like a headband. I wish I had it here with me. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up, but I do use it in a video in a few weeks, so you'll get to see it there. But I'll pull it up like a headband, and then I'll just pull the t-shirt part over and like tie it in the back to keep everything locked in for overnight. Because if you're anything like me, you're tossing and turning, you'll make a mess of your hair, your rollers will fall out. My rollers are little like Velcro ones, so they always get stuck to stuff. And by using a silk t-shirt, it does end up making it so that you're not irritating your hair or lifting anything, causing breakage. The list goes on and on. Always go with silk or satin when it comes to wrapping your hair if you're able to. But I'm going to continue on into our next heatless option, overnight option. This one is another one of my fan favorites. I'm kind of just sharing my favorites with you because this is a struggle that I have, so I can kind of speak a lot from personal experience with this one. But space buns. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that, it's just taking your hair. Let me see if I can do it for you today. Excuse the mess that I'm making of my hair today for y'all. So for that, space buns, you just take your hair into 2 parts. And then bring it all up top. I'm only going to do one for you, but you'll get to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so once you get all your hair up top like this, just do a loose little twist and wrap it around itself. And this is something you do want to make sure is loose so that you're not pulling on your hair or anything like that. And then some people, they'll secure the bun with bobby pins. I personally am really lazy, and I don't like using bobby pins because they take a little bit extra effort. So I just use a little ponytail and do just 2 wraps instead of 3 so that it's loose. And that's a little space bun. So for going to bed, I do 2 of these. And I find that when I wake up in the morning, when I take my hair out, it has like a nice voluminous swoop to it. So it's not curly per se, but it does have like a bump up here, and then it does a nice little wave down. I'll do a demonstration for you later in a different video where I can actually show you what it looks like in the morning. But it does really help with volume, just doing little space buns, making sure they're super, super loose so they're not pulling at anything, they're not irritating your hair at all. But that's the way you want to go if you're going to go with something like a space bun, and you just sleep with it in. And then the next day you would take the bun out and you got your hair bumping and having a party. The reason why I like it is because it is really nice to sleep in. It's something that just plops right on the top of your head. You don't have to worry about it. Rollers, I find that they're sometimes uncomfortable because they're on the back of your head. Every way you roll, you're laying on rollers, but space buns, you put them right on top and you can forget about them. So they're a really nice overnight kind of hack for you when it comes to getting volume. Now, I do see some more comments coming in. I see Amber saying, make a halo type ring out of a cotton t-shirt. Can make a great wave for thin hair. Oh, okay. I'll have to try that out for all of you and make a little video to show you how to do that, because that sounds super cool and super awesome. Thank you, Amber. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I'll do a little test run for that and see how it goes. And then you don't have to take the time to test it on yourself if it's something that you haven't done yet. But if you're like Amber and have tried it out, that's super awesome. And let's test it out together. Thank you. Now I see Sandy saying, I blow dry my hair with my head down. Blow it over my head to get more volume. Okay, so you like flip your head upside down and then you blow dry it that way. That's another thing that I always encourage. I love that everyone's leaving their own tips or tricks in the comments. It's super great seeing everyone help each other out. But volume is something that so many people struggle with. It's so hard to get your hair up and going. I know I struggle with it. I know lots and lots of people who struggle with getting their hair to be voluminous. Luckily, there is the slick look coming into style again. But hey, let's try and keep the voluminous bumping hair alive. I see Jenny asking, Have you ever tried Victorian rags? I haven't, but I will have to look that up. If it's something that interests all of you, I would be happy to make a little video where I test out like overnight things and see how they look the next morning. I'm assuming that's what Victorian rags is. I'll be honest, I don't know what it is, but I am happy to look into it and do a little test run for all of you. I'm happy to be everyone's guinea pig so that you don't have to take the time and energy to try something out for it just not to work. So far, we have the Halo type t-shirt ring and Victorian rolls on my little to-do list to test out for everyone. If you have anything else that you want me to test out, definitely feel free to leave it in the comments as well. I see Sandy saying that she wears her hair in a loose bun, so that's super awesome just to get that volume in there. And space buns, they're super, super fun. And okay, so she puts her hair in a loose bun, and then she has lots and lots of body in her hair and waves in the morning. So doing the loose bun approach is one of my favorites. I love it. Honestly, if it's easy, I can sleep in it. I can live my life in it. It's one of my favorites. That's kind of a good rule of thumb for me. I see Susan saying that she loves space buns. Space buns are super fun. I don't know why they always make me feel super young. Just doing that. I know I am young, but still, it makes me feel younger. So space buns, super, super fun. I see Patricia saying, braid hair while wet, then let it dry for wavy hair. That's super fun. I always love doing that kind of hairstyle where I braid it and then the next day I have something even more fun to play with my hair. So that's super awesome. I love that tip as well. So we've gone through all of my voluminous tips or tricks, but I love that we're getting some other styling tips and tricks in the comments here. Feel free to leave anything that you can think of. But just to do a quick little summary in case you joined us a little bit later, we shared a few different tips or tricks today. One of which is to let your hair air dry in a part that you typically don't wear. And then once you're ready to take on the world and you want to get some volume pumping up there, just take your hair and part it the way that you want it to. So let's say I want to do a side part, and then I'm just gonna I'm just gonna pump it up over there. And now I got some volume rocking. It doesn't want to stay over there for me today. But that's the first hack. There we go. I got it. The second one isn't super recommended, but it's one that was super common for the longest time is back combing your hair. So taking a section and brushing it towards the root. It does give you volume, but it also can cause breakage, tangles, and then you're going to be pulling on your hair to get those tangles out, and the list goes on and on. I don't recommend it, but that's another one that we talked about. And then we talked about some heat options, so involving like a hair blow dryer or a straightener or a curler. The most common one that we got in the comments that everyone says they do at home is to blow dry their hair upside down. But if your hair is already dry, you can take a curler and just kind of pump up the roots a little bit. A curler or straightener, you can do it with both. Just make sure that you're getting some moisture back in your hair by using something like the 10-in-1 hair revitalizer. It's super, super light on your hair, so you're not going to feel like you're weighing your hair down when you're already fighting to give it some life and lift. And then another option that we talked about is using a round brush when you're blow drying as well, just to get some bumps in there. And then we talked about some overnight options. So our first one was to put some rollers in your hair, and then wrapping that in like a silk t-shirt or something just to keep it all in, not falling out overnight. And then space buns, which are one of my personal favorites. Those are just little loose buns on top of your head. And those will give you some nice little curls and volume in the morning, and you can sleep with both of those in. I do see some more comments coming in. Jenny says, you twist your hair up in a cloth rag and wear it overnight. That one's super fun too. So that one sounds kind of similar to the t-shirt one, but I would love to try that one, and I would recommend all of you to also try that one. We also had some suggestions of leaving your hair up in braids and then taking those out the next day, and they'll be nice, fun, and wavy. But that's all that I have really for volume, and I would encourage all of you that if you haven't taken a chance to scroll through the comments yet, a lot of our fellow viewers have left so many different of their own tips or tricks, which are super awesome. So you don't have to just listen to me. I can sit here and blab like a little know-it-all, but all of you have the exact same concerns as I do. We're both trying to fight for some volume in our hair. So listen to each other. We're all in it together. We all know what's going on. But that's all I have. So I'm just going to give one last shot to see if there are any other questions. Make sure to leave them in the comments if there's anything brewing in there. Just before we end our live stream today, I see Patricia saying, "Thank you for the new and at least for me, ideas for volume." You're very welcome. And I'm really, really happy that all of you joined me for these. I really hope you find them beneficial. And once again, if you ever have an idea, ever have something that you want us to talk about in one of these lives, leave them in the comments, because I am more than open to suggestions. I want to make sure that these are for all of you. These videos aren't just for me to jabber on about the product. It's also to share our own knowledge with each other and talk about things that are important to you. So make sure to leave those in the comments, and I'll make sure to make a video about them later down the line. I see people saying the Revitalizer is amazing. Lots of people saying thank you and have a good night. Well, once again, thank you all for joining me. And once again, do not forget to use that 10% discount code. That'll give you 10% off everything in your order. It is all capital letters, no spaces. Shay, just like my name. And thank you all. I'll let everyone go. I see Russell asking a quick question, so I'll answer that, and then we'll finish off our live. So Russell's question is, my scalp is very, very dry. So for that, I always recommend to make sure that you're using a moisturizing shampoo or conditioner, and conditioner. For our line, you have a few different options. We have our coconut milk shampoo and conditioner, our Moroccan argan oil shampoo and conditioner, our red onion shampoo and conditioner, and our rose shampoo and conditioner. I typically recommend those for really dry scalp, as well as a once a week leave-in oil treatment that you can do overnight. I like using the Moroccan argan oil and then washing it out the next morning. But we have lots of different hair oil options, and all of them have their own amazing benefits. I do have a video about that. It is called How to Hair Oils, and you can just scroll back on our Facebook feed if you're watching on Facebook, and you'll be able to find that video there if you're curious about those. But for dry hair, that's what I would recommend. Thank you all for joining me today, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.